Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the Darkest Timeline, and I swore I wasn't going to do it. I was like, no, I'm not talking about Christmas. I'm not talking about New Year. We're well into end of Jan, early February. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not going to do it. So, we start off with a lot of Christmas and New Year conversations, then move steadily into the entertainment stuff. No movie this week. I've only just realised that. No movie, I'm afraid. I am working through a movie, but no movie this week. Plenty of games and quite a bit of TV. So, swings and roundabouts. Before we start, please do consider like, share, subscribe and comment. Leave a review where you can leave a review. Obviously, the biggest possible thing there is share the podcast around. That's the one we like. Word of mouth and all that. Yeah. Right, let's get started. Here we go. This is CookieCast, the Darkest Timeline. Hey, how you doing? Came in real low there. Gruff. I'm going to turn that button off. You may have heard that. You may not have. Turn the speakers off. Don't need them. So, something that was addressed in last week's episode is the time delay between podcasts. I've recently realised, especially with key festive moments, that talking about Christmas at the end of January doesn't work. And talking about New Year, beginning of February, probably doesn't work either. That's not going to stop me. I don't know if anything can stop me. But from a bad review. So there is something to talk about. This one's a random one because it's all over the map, then turns into the entertainment side of things, which is all over the map. I'll explain further in a bit. My youngest daughter got a toy mobile phone for Christmas. I'm trying to work out a different way of saying for Christmas. I don't think that's not what we're talking about. So she got it for Christmas a little while ago. It was something she'd asked for. Really, I've tried to do if you ask for it, there's a higher chance you'll get it, as long as you're not asking for a pony. If you don't ask for it, you're not going to get it, because there's been years gone by of, hey, this person didn't put this on their list, let's get it for them, and then it stays in a box and then goes to charity a year later. So it wasn't a list. She did ask for it, and we got her this toy mobile phone, which ultimately is one step away from a mobile phone, and that step is the phone bit. It literally does everything else. It plays music. It has a front and rear camera, so she can take photos and videos, and it's got games and stories. If you want it to tell you a story, it'll tell you a story. It's quite what I would consider to be quite advanced for a children's toy and for something that isn't a mobile phone. But so, excuse me, I'm yawning. Again, that's something I'll cover in a bit. So she's got this phone. First thing, case comes off. I said to her at one point in time, I was like, why is it the first thing you do with any toy to strip it? If it's a doll, all the clothes have got to come off. All of them. no matter what. If it's got hair done in an elaborate way, the hair's got to come out. She has to strip whatever it is down to its bare component. So she took the case off the phone immediately. It's never gone back on. I put like a string, like, you know, for like, if you've got something for a child, sometimes it comes with that like string with a loop and stuff. I put that on it. That has stayed on, and she actually uses it. So she'd had it for a few days, and we heard the Bingo song, you know, Bingo. We heard that about 19 times an hour for the first few days. That got real old real fast. Then she was playing all these games, which is always a bit of a... There was this whole, look at the glimpse into the future, because she was just glued to this phone. There was points in time where she had to like have physical breaks from it. There were times when it was like, the battery's run out, and that's probably a good thing, so we'll put it on to charge, but you're probably not getting it back today. So there was a lot of that sort of stuff. At one point in time, I was walking through the dining room, and she's on this phone thing, and I could hear that she was playing a video. And at the time, I was like, I hadn't really thought too much of it. Oh, it can do video. It can do photos. Like, if any of them get like anything that's got a camera on it, in it, an actual camera, the first thing I do is make sure to take a selfie of me pulling a silly face. I'm walking through the room. She's playing this video, and a lot of it's going over my head. It's going in one ear and out the other. Right up to the point that the video ended, and I heard this. I'm paraphrasing, but basically I heard this. Right, guys, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, give it a like. And I was like, what the hell was that? And she got all embarrassed and like, nothing. I was like, no. What was that? What was at the end of that video? So it turns out that every one of these videos she's been doing, they've been ending with, if you like the video, give it a like. I'm like, what? So then it turns out that she's been essentially doing, like, she's been basically vlogging her life. Oh, I'm just in the bathroom right now with my little brother and I'm brushing my teeth, and then later we're going to go and have something, we're going to have some lunch, and we're going to go out, and we're going to go to the park, and we're going to do this. So yeah, there you go. If you like this video, give it a like. And I'm like, where has she picked this up from? Where is this coming from? Like, I'm looking at it as, I don't think she has the sort of exposure in her life where she sees stuff that are like, if you like this video, give it a... And like, she doesn't, to my knowledge, doesn't spend a lot of time watching YouTube videos. She doesn't spend a lot, she's not on social media. She's not... I watch a YouTube, one of these YouTube chefs. And they're always like, this is the point I'm supposed to say. If you like this video, give it a like. And I was like, it's not like she's sitting and watching cooking videos with me. Like, where has she picked this up from? And I said to Leanne, I was like, where's this come from? What's she watching? She was like, she'll have got it from Bluey or something. I was like, I don't know if that's the case. Has she genuinely gone and watched an episode of Bluey and has picked it up from there? But it's this thing that it was so, like, the way she was doing these videos was so ingrained. She had this like concept of, like, you say what you're doing and you say what you're gonna be doing, and then you know, if you tell people if they like it, then, you know, like it. And I was showing her, like, podcast episodes, not showing her, but playing podcast episodes to her. I was like, that's what I say on podcasts. And then I found a podcast episode where I'd put, like, her outro on it. I was like, look, you know, you've done an outro for the podcast. Not quite one where it's asking for likes and things, but so weird. So yeah, just completely baffled as to where this has come from. Then my younger two daughters have got this thing recently about going and being in their bedroom. And there's a variety of different things. They like to turn all the lights off, close the curtains, put lamps on, and then they'll play a variety of different games. And previously, when they were younger, when they were littler, when they were younger to what they are now, it was just no. It was just no. You can't go upstairs. You can't be up there on your own. You can't go and play. You can't do this and the other, because of a multitude of possibilities. Somebody's going to fall. Somebody's going to, get stepped on. Somebody's going to break something. Somebody's going to break a bone. It's just that at a certain age. Like, I wouldn't, like, if my son was like, oh, I'm off to play upstairs, I'd be like, you're absolutely not. And then there'll be a point, 2 or 3 years down the line, where if he was like, I'm off to play upstairs, I'd be like, okay. But then I'd probably still go and check on him. Speaking of, I'm like, oh, where are the little guys? One of them's doing this and the other two are upstairs. What are they doing upstairs? Oh, they've gone off playing. I'm like, all right, okay. I was like, well, I'm off for a shower, so I'll stick my head around the door. Just make sure, everything's tickety-boo. So I open the door, and they haven't realised that I've opened the door. So I was, like, taking, like, little pictures of them, because they were, like, snuggled together, and one had their arm around the other one, and it was, like, super cute and stuff. And I was like, oh, bless. And then next thing, they start doing one of these videos, and I was like, oh, here we go. Oh, I hope they get the likes in at the end. And it was hilarious. And there was an element, I was like, I wonder if this is what we sound like on podcasts. I wonder if this is just what podcasting is further down the line. I don't know how I feel about it. I've got very mixed feelings. I'd love to know where she's got this from. But I'm like, I'm not going to get an answer on it, and I can't work it out for myself, so I kind of have to let it go. So, the New Year thing. I did what I would personally consider to be a cardinal sin. And I went to a shop on New Year's Day. Now, yes, like I say, you'll be listening to this in February. And as I'm getting in the car with 2 children, I was like, let's go to the shops like all those other people who are going to be going to the shops today. But we're not like them, because we're going for a reason. Because in my head, if the shops are open and there are people in them, they're not there because they desperately need something. They're there because, how do I say this? They've got nothing better to do. And that's more of a society commentary than anything else. However, we're different. We're not like those people. We had to go into the shops on New Year's Day for a reason. I hold two hands up on this one. One, absolutely legitimate reason for going, and that legitimate reason was because it was one of the only two opportunities I would have had to have done this. The other one being next week, with a matter of days to get something sorted. So it was ultimately the only opportunity to do the job. On the other side, I work on the principle that anybody that works in retail that sees somebody walk through the door on New Year's Day, it's like you are the lowest form of whatever. I remember working in a business where they were closed Christmas Day, Boxing Day and New Year's Day religiously. There was no ands, ifs or buts. It was as simple as that. And then one year, a conversation started a couple of months before Christmas that was about the possibility of opening on Boxing Day. And I went fucking ballistic. I was like, why? For what reason? Like, oh, there is a reason. There is an actual reason for it. And it was to do with like other shops being open, and those shops fed into the business that I worked in. And, what if this happened over the festive period? And, we need to be there for all of this bullshit. And I'm pretty sure one of the reasons that I was so annoyed about it was that it was me that was supposed to work it. So just leave it. But then you had this whole, well, at least you still get Christmas Day and New Year's Day. Ooh, the heady heights of 2 days off over the space of an entire week. And then I remember the point in time where that changed, and it was, we're going to open on New Year's Day. And it was just the most ridiculous concept ever. And this whole, why? Nobody's coming in to buy whatever on New Year's Day. So the point was, they were going to make a educated decision on this. Basically, if people came in, they would open in the future. And if they didn't, that was that. And we did a late night opening, run up to Christmas. But ultimately they worked out that it was costing them more to be open late night than they made, because they made no money. They made zero money. So all they were doing was staying open 3 hours longer for no more benefit. So that actually stopped. But yeah, from a retail perspective, if you walk into a shop on New Year's Day, you are the reason why that member of staff is not getting a free-ish day off. So it's like, it's like a criminal sort of thing. So, in this situation, you go in the shop, you're very sort of whatever. And I had to ask somebody, I couldn't find any staff. And I needed to ask a series of questions, all of which did not go well. I'm like, hey, how much is this? Because I can see a price, but I don't think it applies to this item. I'm not sure. Fingers crossed. Oh, yeah, no, it's a third more expensive than that price. Cool, that's not exactly what I wanted to hear. I was like, oh, size-wise, is the size right? They were like, did you do our job for us? I think so. Then, yeah, the size is right. Cool, because obviously the £100 difference is the size difference. So, yeah, thanks for that. So, we toddle off. We get in the car. I wanted to get it out of the way so that we're not those people, even though we were already those people. We get in the car. We toddle off. Away we go. Get to the car park. The shop's there. I'm like, right, we're going to go in that shop there. We're going to go in that shop there. We're going to get in the car. We're going to go home. Right, okay, we can do that. We go in the shop. And as we're walking across the car park, I was like, it was relatively easy to get parked. There was parent and child spaces, but I work on the principle that I don't take them if I don't need them. Off we go into the shop. Car park, it's not empty by any means, not empty. But the shops were, like, there was, like, in one of the shops we went in, there was like us, where we were upstairs in a shop, and there was like us and another family. And then downstairs, when we went downstairs looking for like staff, there was like another couple of families down there, and that was it. And I was like, that's fine, that works, that's great. And when we'd done our shopping jobs, we went in the place next door, may or may not be a coffee shop, and got some drinks. My children have now cottoned on that if we go anywhere near a coffee shop, and if they ask me for a drink, my guilt, I think it is, of buying drinks for myself kicks in, and I go, fine, what do you want? And previously they would just get like a little juice or something, but now they've cottoned on to the fact that they can ask for an actual drink and I'll feel like I have to buy it. So my coffee shop order has gone through the roof, and I mean obviously in a monetary fashion. So we've been in the shop, we've been in the coffee shop, we've got the drinks, they've got drinks, I'm cursing. Ultimately, I'm cursing myself for the second time in so many days. We walk out, we go and get in the car, and we set off. And as we set off, we have to pass like the bigger part of the car. We were in the little part of the car park. We had to pass the bigger part of the car park, which we'd driven into like an hour earlier. Like I say, we'd done some like shopping. We hadn't done shopping. We'd done information gathering, and we got some drinks, and that was it. We've been conservatively an hour. We go in the car. We drive past the big car park, and I was like, look at all these people. Look at all these cars. When we got here an hour ago, this bit of the car park was empty. And that bit there had it wasn't empty, it had a good few cars, but it was just that. That was it. The car park is like 80% full at this point in time. I was just like, why? Why is this the way it is? What is the reason for this? It's just so baffling to me. I'd love to get out there and do some kind of survey and be like, hi, can I ask you why are you here? You've just come off the back of the biggest shopping event of the year. Of last year, because obviously it was New Year's Day. So why are you here? Let's talk about something else. I'll just get bogged down in the stew of this one. My elder, I think I mentioned, might have been last week. I think I mentioned about my eldest daughter, and has recently developed an enjoyment for games. And I think I was saying at the time that it's the first sort of time that she's really shown any kind of actual interest in games. And I have this real sort. It's a real double-edged sword, because as a gamer myself, I'm like, oh look, she's following in my footsteps. She wants to play games. And there was a point where she'd been playing some VR, and I'd left her. That might have been that day, actually. I think I left her playing and went away and came back, and like she was still playing, sort of thing. She's like asked me if she can play games and stuff and all this, and I'm like, yeah, absolutely, yeah, that's right, that's great. And then there's the part of me that's like the parent part of me that's like, maybe you should take a break from playing the games and do something else, find a different activity to do. And then my youngest daughter, she's recently started getting into games. She asked for a couple of games for Christmas, which she got, and she's been playing through. It turns out that she'd finished a game. Didn't even know. To be fair, she didn't know either, so it was a bit of a... okay. She's been playing these games. I think one of the games that she's got is probably a little bit too advanced. Not the mechanics of the game, more the... I kind of want to say the life experience of it. That kind of, she's not lived a lot of life to know certain things about life. So I think that's where the downfall of that is. She still enjoys it, and also she gets me to help. So I'm like, yeah, we're doing it together. But I've started getting this real sort of like tear. Like, one of my children has a very strange relationship with games. Anytime anything game based comes out, she runs a mile. She'll she'll go in other rooms. She goes as far away as she can get from gaming. Yet will then play on the Switch. Almost no matter what it is, will play on the Switch. So that's her, she's got no interest in the VR, she's got no interest in the Steam Deck, she's got no interest in any of those things. Even though, obviously, if you look at from a Steam Deck perspective, the Steam Deck's just got, as many games as you could possibly want of all different types. And then there's been a couple of things where it's been like, one of my other children will be showing her stuff, and then you can see that her interest is piqued, but that's about it. Then we've got like, my youngest daughter is getting this sort of, enjoyment. There was a point in time where she played like for an entire afternoon, and it had sort of gone unnoticed because there was a lot of other stuff going on at the time, a lot of jobs going on, and she just sort of slipped beneath the radar and played a load of computer games. Then you've got my eldest. There's been a game that she's been really taken with, but we're both playing it, so we're playing like not co-op, because we're not playing it together. We just sort of take it in turns and stuff. And it's given us a lot to talk about. Like, have you tried this? And did you do that? And I've got a new character. I've gone on a new level and I've unlocked this. And there's been a lot of that. And then she's been a lot better at the game than me. So she's like, oh yeah, I did that. And this happened. I was like, I don't know anything about that. It's one of those scenarios where I think what I'm sort of trying to get to is I don't know the best way to handle this, because I am completely torn in half on this one. Am I supposed to encourage the game playing for all of them and really be like, yeah, this is great, this is wonderful, because it's what I enjoy? Or am I supposed to be like, you can have an hour on this, but once an hour's up, you've got to turn it off? Should I be doing that side of things and then being like, oh, what are you going to do now? When I know that some of my children are in a bit of a limbo at the moment where it's not like they're going to go and play. Some of them, given the choice to do absolutely anything that they could possibly do, would be lost with too many choices. Whereas some of my children are like, you can do whatever you want now. They're straight away, they're off and doing. But I don't have an answer. So I was playing this game that me and my eldest have been playing, and I was playing it the other evening when obviously she wasn't here, and I was playing, and I was like, oh, that's that, and that's that, and oh, I understand how that works now, and oh right, okay, and I've unlocked another character, and I've unlocked another some upgrades and things and all this, and all I could think was, oh, when I see her, later in the week, I'll be able to say to her, oh, I've done all of this, and oh, you should have a go because this character's cool, and then I'm like, but is that the right thing to do? Is it? Me and my some of my children have sort of this similar interest in like talking about like films and stuff, but again, that's a me thing. And, should I not be in a situation where my children are coming to me with their things and I'm like, oh, right, okay, that sounds interesting, whilst being a parent and being like, I've got no idea what they're talking about, And at one point, one of my daughter's friends was talking about like a game they'd been playing, and I was like, oh, I've played that game before. So, and I don't have an answer, so I don't know. And I'm like, should I Google what the benefits to playing games is, and the pitfalls, and do I ask other parents? Do I say, oh, you've got a child around my child's age, what's your stance on computer games? And are they going to be like, oh, computer games are terrible, they rot your brain and you should never play them ever, ever, ever? And I'm like, that's not the right answer. So I just don't know what to do. I don't know what the right answer is. I kind of want someone to say, here's the answer. And then I can go, okay, well, can I massage that answer into one that works better for me, kind of thing. I don't know the answer. I don't know what it is. So, I thought I'd done particularly well. Managed to get through Christmas, New Year, all of that. I know I'm still going on about something that was a while ago now, but it all relates, and it's just the way the podcast crumbles, I'm afraid. I managed to get all the way through without getting any of the what sounded to be quite horrific illnesses that were going around. I was using a series of different tricks of the trade to get round being ill and feeling great, feeling bulletproof, feeling whatever. Last few days, it's been one of those where I've been like, oh no, I think the germs might have got me. One day it was a sore throat that lasted all day. One day it was a headache that lasted all day. One day it was feeling cold. One day it was feeling achy. And then yesterday was really the point where I was like, shit, there's definitely something going on here. I don't know what it is, but it's definitely something that needs addressing. I've got the children, little guys, for the majority of the day. Gonna have to do something about it, sort myself out. So there was a lot of coffee involved. Let's just put it that way. So I had already gone back to work. Best part of a week ago at this point. Gone back to work. Problem solved. No problems. I had to do something that I basically never do, but was sort of in a position where there was nothing I could do about it. I had to take painkillers yesterday because I was like, I physically can't get through the day dealing with little kids not feeling great. Achy body, headache, all of the other things that go with it. So, fast forward to this morning. Monday mornings are always the same, apart from this Monday. This Monday was going to be slightly different, and it was going to be slightly easier. And I was like, I don't have to take my son, but I do have to take my daughter. It was a complete switcheroo. I was like, but that puts less pressure on my morning. I was feeling good about it. I was feeling like, just really enjoy that last gasp of not normality, if that makes any sense. Abnormality. That don't feel right. So it gets to this morning. I'm like, no stress, no pressure, no nothing. Oh my word. I opened my eyes at the point in time that my early alarm is going off, and I was like, absolutely not. Turn the alarm off, get back into bed. I'm like, oh man. And I just had this whole, basically the shortest version of the story is that over the next hour and a half, I was literally just like, nope, not doing it. I'm not getting up. I'm not getting out of bed. I'm not going to go and run. I don't want to go to work today. I just want to go back to sleep. So that was, as far as I was concerned, my day. Then I get locked into this thing of, if I don't go into work, then I'm going to be down on office days, and that's not the way to start the year. And it just turns into this thing of, if I don't do it, then it's going to cause me problems further down the line. But I just couldn't get out of bed. Ended up blasting through the time that I would have got up to run. That wasn't even a consideration by this point. Next thing, I'm like, if I don't get up, I'm not going to get out the door. I get up and do everything I need to, apart from everything that I should have done at that point in time. Go out the door, drop my daughter off, head to work. Feeling like that sort of two sides of the same coin. One was, I can't believe I didn't get up and run. It's the first time in God knows how long that I've not done that, etc., etc., etc. And the other side being, I don't think I should have got out of bed at all anyway. I got to work, and this was where things got weird. Normally, I'd get to work, I'd get logged on, make a coffee, and just crack on. Monday mornings are a very busy time. I have a lot of stuff, like a lot of the stuff that needs doing for the week needs doing Monday morning. So I get it all done first thing, out of the way, and then I can then assess what work there is to do. So, I get started with my day. I get talking to the two people that sit next to me. One's like, how's your weekend? I was like, yeah, it was fine. Very quiet. I was like, how was your weekend? Yeah, very quiet. Like, okay. We had a conversation about computer games. I was like, I've been playing this, I've been playing that, I've been playing the other. They were like, I've been playing this, that, and the other. Like that. I have a conversation with the person on the other side of me. They're like, how was your time? How was your time off? How was this? How was that? I was like, yeah, it was great. It was fine. What about yourself? Oh, yeah, fairly standard. And that's that. As the morning wears on, and I am like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be doing this. I haven't got it in me. The person next to me, like, I have not got anything for this today. I haven't got the time, the energy. I feel exhausted. I just want to go to sleep. I just want to go to bed. I don't want to be here, and I don't want to be doing this. And I was like, yeah, me too. So through the rest of the morning and into the afternoon, we just kept having the same conversation where they were like, I haven't got the energy for this. Or they were looking at like pieces of work that were like complex pieces of work and just being like, I can't do this. I can't muster the energy to do this. And I'm like, you think that's difficult? I've got somebody asking me to do a piece of work where I'm like, you can absolutely do this piece of work. They're like, yeah, but can you do it? And it was just that all morning. And I was just like, I don't understand it. Something I noticed in my time off was I wasn't tired. I'd go to bed and I just couldn't go to sleep. And I started doing this thing that I'd done years ago, years ago, where I started just staying up later and later and later until there was a point in time where it got too late and stuff. But more recently, I've been staying up late. Eventually sort of going to bed, going to sleep, and then the next day getting up and feeling fine. Being fine. Get to today. Now, yes, I understand the principle. Oh, but you're feeling unwell, aren't you? Well, let me put it like this. I took some painkillers with me to work today, just in case. Rather have a gun and not need it, etc. I brought all of those painkillers home with me. Didn't need them, didn't use them, didn't want them, didn't take them. Yet, I have been so incredibly tired today. There were points in time where I was like, I need to get home, record the podcast as soon as humanly possible so that I can go to bed. There was a point today where I was like, do you think if I ask, I can just go home and go to bed? I was so incredibly exhausted. And I think it just falls into that when it's your own time, when you've not got the stresses and the strains and the whatever, you don't feel as tired. For me, this morning was going to be stressful, but not as stressful as a normal Monday. Normal Monday is super stressful because there is a lot that I need to get done by a particular point in time. And it's a horrible start to the week. It really is. Today wasn't going to be quite as bad. Yet, apparently, just some sort of like mental exhaustion that led to physical exhaustion. It's so weird. It's such a weird concept. I ended up having this conversation with my daughter on the way to, like, I'm driving across town, and I was like, just talking about life, and I try not to be too negative because I feel like I may have set her off on the wrong path when she started going to school, and just be like, yep, this is it. This is your life now, from now until the time you retire or die, and it will be this every day. That might not have been the best way to send a child to school. But I tend to find myself in these conversations with her. I had one very similar today where it was just talking about the absolute misery of getting up every day, going to do these same things every day. I'm a fantastic parent. Anyway, let's leave all that stuff there. So here's a funny one for you. I said that the entertainment stuff would be all over the map. Brace yourselves for this one. I watched episode 8 of Day of the Jackal, and I know what you're thinking. Didn't you watch episode 1 and then not watch any more? Yes, you're correct. I watched episode 1 and then episode 8. Now that sounds strange, I know. But when you've got somebody who lives in your house who has watched episode 2 to 7 and has then proceeded to give you a blow-by-blow account of every single thing that's happened in all those episodes, you kind of don't need to watch them. So watching episode 8 wasn't that much of a problem. I watched episode 8 and I did say, I was like, honestly, I feel if some of the stuff that had been in this was in the first episode, if it was a bit more gritty in the first episode, I think I'd have been more compelled to watch it. It was good, it was fine, it was enjoyable. Obviously by that part I'd missed 6 episodes. And Leanna's gone on to watch it and finish the series, saying it was very good. Gave me a blow by blow of the rest of the series. It sounded great. In my search for something to watch, I was friendly reminded by Netflix that I had started watching the McMahon documentary, the Vince McMahon thing. Since realising this, I've watched episode 2, 3 and 4. Episode 2, not fun. Not a good time. I sent a message to some podcasters that you guys might know. And I was like, I'm watching the McMahon documentary. I'm on episode 2. I don't know if I'm going to make it past this point. And everybody was like, oh, you really should stick with it. And by the time sort of these messages had gone back and forwards, I was like, oh, I'm on episode 3. And somebody said, why do you think you won't get past this? Is it just too dumbed down for you? I was like, no, there is some subject matter that is a little hard to deal with. Obviously, there are a variety of different sides to this program. You've got the Vince McMahon, the businessman that took this company and just went strength to strength. You've got his battle with Ted Turner and all of these sorts of things. You've got the Vince McMahon, the family man. You've got Mr. McMahon, who is apparently a character, but then you've got one group of people saying, no, it's not a character, that's who he is. You've got another group of people saying, it's absolutely a character, it's just an exaggerated version. Something I will say is this. I have to work on the principle that if you defend Vince McMahon, after everything that's happened, I have to work on the principle that that man has some pretty damning evidence on you. And if you don't defend him, then I'm guessing he doesn't have any evidence. And that is basically the way I have to work it. A couple of the people who are very much behind Vince McMahon have obviously had their own issues in the news and the media. There is the odd one that pops up where you're like, why are you defending him? Because I don't think you need to. And if you're defending him and you don't need to, that suggests that he's got dirt on you, which is worrying for a couple of them. And then you've got the people who actively don't like him, and then you've got the people who just are like, oh yeah, I worked for him and it was great while I worked for him, but not a great person. Like I say, episode 2 was a difficult watch. If you're planning on watching it, I'd go steady with that one. Episode 3 was fine. Episode 4 introduced the Attitude Era, which I will always sort of argue was the point where wrestling hit its peak. I would probably argue that it's struggled and has always been fighting to get its way back to that, the Attitude Era. I imagine somebody like Stu, who knows more about the wrestling side of the, like the business and all the ins and outs of it, would probably argue that that's not the case. But I think I would also just argue that is when it was the biggest for me. I watched wrestling before the Attitude Era for many years. And then, once the Attitude Era came along, it was like, wow. I will go on and watch more. It's just a time sort of thing. I've missed it's these sorts of things. I've missed out on some treadmill sessions over the last sort of week. So I looked at my Strava at one point today, And, it's Monday, and it's like, you're down 3 activities. I'm like, am I? How? That kind of thing. Computer games wise, few interesting things to discuss. I'm playing Behemoth on standalone quest. So I don't think I'd started it by the time I'd done last week's. I have started it now, and last night I beat the second Behemoth. Early on in the game, it tells you that there's only a couple, but I didn't believe that and kind of might have had to Google. It turns out that there's allegedly 4 Behemoths in the game. Going back a long time ago, I think I didn't really understand the game in the sense that I was like, you just fight these big monsters. That isn't it. The big monsters are the bosses. Which I'm sure for some people are like, well, duh. The rest of the time you're just fighting like soldier type, like medieval, like, armor and axes and shields, swords and shields and bows and arrows and stuff like that. That's basically it. You've got a grapple, you've got a superpower, which is you've got some sort of like infection or curse or something. It makes you strong when you press a button. That's about what I can tell you. It means you can punch through walls, hack people in half, throw weapons and have them come back to you. When I played it the first time, it was one of those where I put it on and started playing it and was just like, wow. I had a conversation with somebody who has played Behemoth and Alien Incursion. And I was like, the difference between these 2 games, one of them you put it on and you play it and you go, wow, this is amazing. This is incredible. This is probably beyond what I thought it was going to be. The other one, you play it and you go, oh, this is not what I thought it was going to be. Probably in the other direction. Don't want to speak too negative of certain games because I haven't played those much, but my argument for this scenario is you put Behemoth on and you play it and you go, my God, this is amazing. You're going to put it back on and play it again. I'll leave that there, let's say. I don't want to poo-poo anything. So, what are the downsides? Well, it's new. And as we all know, new, when you're talking about computer games, means that it's glitchy. A couple of textury things if you load into an area, like if you die when you start back in an area, or you've just loaded the game, all the textures will be off. You have this common thing where, like a soldier, you've hacked up the soldier, you've killed the soldier. They fall down, and then they have this like blurry kind of arc of where they've fallen. Something that has been quite annoying is you've got 8 weapon slots. Now, personally, I feel, and I will say this, personally, I feel playing on the difficulty I'm playing completely unnecessary. I've got like my special sword and I've got my special bow and arrow. Ultimately, I don't want to be that guy, but ultimately you could probably play the whole game with just those 2 weapons. But they tell you that axes are good for breaking shields and armor, which is a scenario you need to be able to do a lot. You can use your special sword and your superpower type thing, but the power you have is fleeting. You can turn it on, it lasts for a few seconds, and then it's gone. Obviously, once it's gone, you can't then use it to hack a shield to bits. So you've got these 8 slots. You have to press a button to get your 4 alternate slots for weapons. Something that has happened a lot and is annoying is weapons that disappear. Now, I think part of this is my fault and part of this is the game. Basically, I think you can accidentally grab your hip weapons. The trousers I've been playing recently, the trousers I've been wearing while I've been playing recently, fall down. So sometimes I'll like hike the trousers up, and I think in doing so I've lost a couple of weapons here and there. What I will say is this: it's not solely me. I think the game has lost some of my weapons along the way. I don't know if it's through saving and loading or what. It's fine when it's weapons that you're not using and you don't use and ultimately don't have any intention of using. It's not fine when it's like, where the fuck's my axe? You know, that kind of thing. Another sort of downside I would probably say for me personally is there's been quite a steep difficulty curve at various points. I had a real problem taking down the first behemoth. I've seen gameplay video where people get more like hints and tips through the game. You've got this woman who talks to you, who I'm convinced is the same voice as Athena in God of War, which is a bit weird because it's almost identical. And I think your voice in the game is also one I recognise. So it ends up being a little bit like, it feels like God of War in certain ways. Even to the fact that there is a throw and catch mechanic for weapons, which obviously appeared in God of War and has been in a series of other VR games. I was saying to somebody, I was like, I truly believe that this should be in any VR game that has melee weapons. I really struggled with the first behemoth. I had to look it up and I felt like I wasn't getting some hints that I've seen other people getting games. A weird thing is this woman that talks to you, who is supposed to be like the virus, is in it a lot through the start of the game. And then I realised when I was playing last night that element has basically gone from the game. She doesn't talk to me anymore. She doesn't have hints and tips or anything. She's just gone. I don't know if that's part of the game or if it's some kind of glitch or something, because you would talk, like your character would talk to the woman. And it's not like my character's talking to himself. So it's like that element of the game has vanished. It's a little bit weird. I did manage to kill the second behemoth, and I managed to do it on my second go. Some people would say, well, that's not very hard. Some people would say, what I would say is it was incredibly hard. I'm not going to spoil it, but there was a lot of thinking I was going to die at multiple points in time, and really having to sort of concentrate, maybe not the word, but just try awareness sort of thing. So yes, I did the second behemoth, and I'm now heading off to find the third behemoth in the game. So I haven't played anything else VR wise. I did give a game a go. One of those I keep getting in this. Oh, I'll buy this game, even though it says it's in early access. I'll buy it and give it a go, and then I buy it and give it a go and go, oh, it's very very much an early access game, isn't it? So I do keep getting bitten by that, and it's one that I'm not massively going to talk about. So let's get on to some flat games. Steam Deck wise, Vampire Survivors was the game I was talking about before. Played it a bit. Played it a bit less this week because of another game I'm going to talk about. Still fun, still enjoyable, still unlocking all the upgrades and things, trying to get characters and things, etc. Decided to take a punt on a rogue light Still don't know how to say that. Still don't know what it's actually called. A rogue, I've started calling them. In the form of Hades. I had played Hades before because I got it through Game Pass at one point in time. Played it, had 2 or 3 goes on it and went, yeah, it's not for me. More recently, it's popped up quite a bit because of playing Vampire Survivors, and I've gone, maybe I should give it a bit more of a chance. It was on sale in the last gasp of the Steam sale, so I was like, yeah, I'm going to take a punt on this. And I have simultaneously been glad I did and regretted my decision. Roguelite, not for me. I don't like the feeling of steadily bashing my head against a brick wall, no matter how soft it is, for the end goal to be braining yourself, which to me is all roguelikes. I have done a lot of Googling. I've done a lot of YouTube video watching. And ultimately, what I've taken away from all the Google and all the YouTube is there is no rhyme or reason to these games. A lot of it's the look of the draw. A lot of it's just a lot of movement. A lot of knowing when and where to use weapons, which is not my strong suit. And it's just a lot of that. What I will say is this. It's a gorgeous game. It's very well made, it's very well put together, and it's very well done. If it wasn't roguelike, I think I'd have a much better time with it. But because it is, there is always going to be that thing where I get so far through and go, what's the fucking point? I am going to introduce my eldest to it just as a give this a go, see what you think, see if you like it kind of situation. And the other thing from a Steam Deck's perspective is I bought a special edition version of Cyberpunk because it got highly rated as far as the Steam Deck was concerned. Apparently it's one of the number 1 Steam Deck games, played games, however you want to categorize it. It apparently plays well. It looks good. A lot of people play it on the deck. And I was like, okay. There was a sale, as we know, as I've covered extensively at this point, and there's a 2.22 update. All of this stuff. I was like, do you know what? I didn't hate that game. It's had a lot of work put into it since its release, and maybe playing it on the Steam Deck would actually be really cool. Took a punt on it, played through the opening, and then did I'll come back to that. With the actual intention of coming back to it because I paid quite a bit of money for it. And I already own it, so, you've got that. Obviously, playing Vampire Survivors, playing Hades, playing, bits and bobs here and there, it has got sort of pushed down the queue. Yesterday, I had a little bit of time in the afternoon and I went, do you know what? I'm not playing Hades and I'm not playing Vampire Survivors. I'm going to put Cyberpunk on. And I'm going to break the back of it. Because I need to know that I spent money wisely. Put it on, started playing it. And within half an hour, I was like, oh yeah, okay, here we go. I'm feeling it. I'm digging it. I'm liking it. Here we go. This is good. Yeah. Then I got to what I think is pretty much the first boss fight in the game. And I was like, oh, you can use your hacks. So I started using hacks and stuff. At which point the Steam Deck told me it was running out of power. It's like, oh yes, of course. Because it's a power-hungry hog of a game. And I managed to simultaneously kill the boss, save the game, exit the game, turn the Steam Deck off and plug it into power at 1% battery life. It was like a Mission Impossible. I really enjoyed playing it. I think having bought a special edition of the game, I think that has given me some additional weapons early on. I don't remember having like good shotgun, assault rifle, handgun early on when I played it originally. So that seems to be something. And having those really gave me a feel of like, oh yeah, that's good. Did a couple of upgrades, everything hunky-dory, tickety-boo. Another sort of thing of it is it does run real nice on the Steam Deck. It looks real nice on the Steam Deck. There is an element where I was like, oh, I wish it was a bit big. I was like, maybe I should plug it into the TV. So yes, it's very bit ironic, shall we say. Finally, I have had a couple of sessions playing Space Marine 2. That game is fucking gorgeous. Plays amazing. I did a mini review for somebody today where I said the only thing I wish is that, like, and I said this last week, when you're out in the field, I wish they would give you some information about guns other than its name. Like, there was a bit I was doing, there was a bit of like a swarm of little alien things. They're like, oh, that flamethrower will really work for that situation. I was like, cool. But if I pick it up, it's not going to tell me that. It's just because you've told me. I just wish it'd give you some kind of like comparison. Like this gun is good at this and this. Because when you're in your base and you go to equip weapons, it does that. Just doesn't do it out in the field. Honestly, that is the only thing I can find to gripe about that game. It is gorgeous. It plays amazing. Every single review you've ever heard about that game is correct. It's a phenomenal game. I am looking at which points in time I can play it more so that I can still, keep up that side of things. I know I am aware VR takes up a lot of time for me. It's definitely a media that's got hold of me, but yes, I do still want to play the flat games. Right, there we go. That's that one done. I'll catch you next time. So there we go. What do you think to that? Another one done, another one gone, all of that good stuff. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Obviously, at this point in time, we're well into another year. However, at the time this was recorded, we're only just gone into a new year, so I don't really know what the relevance of that was, but hey. Before you leave us, please do consider like, share, subscribe, and comment. Leave reviews where you can leave reviews, and check out the website, thecookiecast.com. There we have social media links and an email button. That way you can get in touch with us. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Till next time, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to Cookie Cast.